They bowled to the left, they bowled to the right, they did anything but bowl tight, and they travelled through the night. I'm not talking about England, I'm talking about the Strikers. This is Two Loose Cannons. I'm Liam.
Ross.
How on earth can you not be prepared for a game that you have to win, and you don't even switch on, well, for the entire innings?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like that power play is, if that was two neutral sides, I would have been loving it. But most of the time I spent my head hanging in shame. That was just terrible.
Yeah.
What were they after 3 over 60?
Yeah, 63.
Something, it was something like 67.
Absurd.
They absolutely got just smacked.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. We've been talking about it quite a bit. That side, the organisation, how did they not be ready? At Para Districts level, grade 9, we are told to warm up.
Yeah, that's right.
Make sure you're ready for ball 1.
Yeah.
And that's, we're just playing park cricket for fun. These blokes are paid professionals that warm up for how long before a game, and they're not ready to bowl in the right spot.
Yeah. That was just, and you do have games like that, and Marsh took them apart. And
yeah, took apart crap bowling.
Yeah,
they just
crap bowling, exactly.
Slot. I reckon we could have put up 50 off of 20 odd deliveries.
Could have got a nice century. Could have raced the bat. Yeah. No, it was terrible to watch. I'm sure if you were Perth supporter, you would have been loving it. But yeah, look, the only positive to come out of it was I thought Kerry was really good. He gave us a chance. Unfortunately,
and you see what bringing that extra batsman in does for the rest of the bats. Short looked free, didn't it?
Short looked free, but unfortunately, he gets a tickle. Yeah, that under edge just.
That was Linney.
No, Linney. Sorry, I'm not sure. Yeah,
that was Linney. He started to get free, didn't he?
That's right. If somehow he doesn't get a tickle on and he goes on, maybe they win it. Who knows?
Yeah, because all he needs to do is rapid fire 50 in it.
Yeah, that's it.
It just eases the pressure down the line.
Of course it does. Second highest score at Adelaide Oval, that was.
Yeah.
First in any 20 match.
And I'm sure you go back, because I'm pretty sure the highest, was that against Brisbane?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that day. I thought that the Strikers batted phenomenally well.
Yeah.
Whereas last night I could go back, and it's not recency bias, but we bowled shit.
Yeah, we did.
We gave them that title rather than that was good batting, because I don't remember too many bad cricket shots from Perth.
Yeah.
And that tells me that they didn't have to go stupid, because we were bowling on the leash to just...
It was a bit like watching the Poms bowl.
Yeah.
Very loose.
But I'll tell you what, the Poms at least put in a little bit more effort, didn't they?
Yeah. Well...
Their bowling was okay.
The bowling was okay, but if, look, I know we're going to talk about it, so I probably won't touch on the third test now, but look, we sit here and we... you said to me after the New Year's game that you weren't confident, and they've shown since then that, that was just one of those games where they managed to get up for it, or whether they, Brisbane just didn't.
Yeah, I think that's more of Brisbane. Yeah. And I think it's become evidently clear changes need to be made.
Yeah.
They finished bottom. They got the second pick in the draft.
Yeah.
This was the time that you bring in new blood and you start to see some green shoots. What green shoots are we seeing?
Nothing.
I mean, we're seeing much the same as last year. Pope, shout out to Pope, man. That guy, I know he gets bagged because he can leak runs at times, but if that guy doesn't take the wickets he takes, to get Finn Allen and to get who else did he get at the top of the order? Pulled it back.
Yeah,
and
he definitely
that was out of control up until that point.
Yeah,
he's arguably their most important player. That sounds ridiculous. Everyone's going to go, Matt Short. Nah. Hope at the moment is their most important bowler.
It's interesting that the last time they played Perth, we said that they leaked runs and they gave them that extra 30, 35, and we lost the game. And this time they did the same thing.
Yeah, well, they leaked every item,
we lost 30 when we probably could have pulled it back earlier. They just could have got control of that. There was a chance, but,
What I would like to know, and we won't know because we're not in the inner sanctum. We don't see the training sessions. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
But how does a bloke like Harry Manenti get a game? What's he actually in the side for?
I often wonder that. He's kissed on the you-know-what by a fairy, I reckon, because I look at Manenti and I'm just thinking, why are you out there? Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. But I won't say the funny thing, but since we I don't even know if the show even went to air, but we talked about Overton being possibly the next captain. You were going to get rid of him, and I'm saying he could be our next
I
captain.
still stand by that.
He's done nothing yet. He's done nothing since that game yet. Since that week that we on the podcast, we said
I'm pretty sure we got pulled off there.
Yeah, we certainly got pulled off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just no cohesion at the moment. I don't know, and it's too late now. Kerry comes back, even if he plays well, we're probably gone. We're relying on other teams to lose, and you can't. Once you start getting to that stage of relying on other teams to lose, I think just season done.
To me, and I've been part of teams that absolutely sucked, and you don't want to be out there. That's the way it looks at the moment. They're just going through their motions and placing the ball wherever.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that team because players don't want to come to you.
No, that's where they're at.
That's it. And so I reckon you're right. Change has to be made. Whoever's selecting this team needs to go. The coach needs to go.
Yep.
You can keep Matty Short as the captain if you want. I mean, look, it's neither here nor there. There needs to be leadership.
Scrap. It's a full change.
There needs to be leadership change.
It's a bit like AFL. You talk about your 4 key pillars, getting them all right. I don't think the Strikers have one pillar right.
No.
Again, is there better options for captain? I don't know. But it couldn't be any worse than Matt Short.
Well, yeah,
because the bloke has no feel for the game.
Yeah,
whether you just look to invest in someone and go, right, you're the captain, we'll build with you.
Is it the game plan though? Is it that?
What's the game plan?
Well, that's it. The game plan is we're going to bowl them out cheaply, and we're just going to go out.
Yeah,
and they haven't been able to bowl anybody yet.
And my big thing is, I understand that they're trying to go that bowler route, and bowlers win tournaments. Yeah, fair enough. But you lose the toss and you get sent in. Are you going to be able to set enough?
No.
To defend?
No. But that model worked for the girls, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They were not making a lot of runs, but the bowlers were backing up the batsmen and were bowling teams out, and that's what got them back-to-back championships.
I would say
whether they saw that and thought, "Hey, could we do that in the men's?" You can't. I don't know if you can do that in the men's game because you just have too many power.
There's too much depth in men's cricket. Right. Outside of Australian cricket, at that time when the Strikers were dominating, England, you'd say England. India was starting to emerge, and then maybe New Zealand, who sort of flip-flop between powerhouse and has-beens.
Yeah.
And then you might get the odd South African. So the depth isn't there. Whereas, the men's game, it seems to have. And this new generation that's coming through, there's a lot of talent in there.
Yeah.
It's chock full of talent.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody on the Strikers list. And it's disappointing because I think someone like Tom Kelly should be getting a run.
Yeah.
I've been harping on. Most of the stuff I've sent hasn't made it to air because for whatever reason or not. But I've been as big as.
Well, we were under 16 at one point.
Yeah.
That's why.
I got backed up by the bloke at work today who called me 21.
It's frustrating though. You look at this team, and but I didn't have high hopes going into the season. I know you did.
I had them over 3.
Didn't. I thought they'd finish out of the finals. They might sneak in if they had a good tournament, but they'd need some luck. But I still had it finishing out. I certainly didn't have to finish bottom.
Part of the reason why I thought they'd be okay was we talked about form with the ladies.
Yeah.
And that killed the Adelaide Strikers women's team. I thought that last game, and I highlighted Liam Scott as that big Shield 150 he got in the last Shield match. And I've gone, this bloke, he's really coming on. He's really growing into himself. He was going to carry that form into the T20 tournament, and he has.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be batting at 4, though, and having to bat long periods. Yeah. I thought he'd come in and be a power hitter.
Yeah. He need him at 6 or 7.
He's lost rhythm a couple of times. Even though he's got a 90-odd against Hobart, you've just seen a couple of times where he just hasn't had that flow. He's lost it, and then it's come again later in the innings. I thought Mackenzie Harvey, who, again, brilliant white ball form in domestic cricket, hasn't been able to transfer it over into T20 for whatever reason. Is it the instructions he's been given?
Yeah.
Is it different to what Rhino has him doing at I almost said it again, the red bat. Saka. I have to get used to that. Why not? I reckon if Rhino was coaching, Lynn would have been at 3, Harvey would have been opening, and then who knows? at that start of the tournament, Harvey, because he wasn't even playing at the start of the tournament,
So
he gets an innings underway and that's it. He sets the world alight.
yeah,
Continues that.
that's it. He just needs.
He's hopelessly out of form at the moment.
Yeah, he just needs the confidence, and he just needed that run.
So what's the messaging? Is it the role play? Is it? I don't know. What's the batting plan?
Well, the batting plan was, I think the plan was
just get enough on the board.
We're going to bowl them out cheaply because we've got the depth in bowling, and we're going to back our bowlers in.
You're not going to win the toss and bowl.
And even if they thought that they'd come up with a small total, whether it was somewhere around the 110s, 120s, 130s, whatever they consider small total, that the bowlers would be able to,
because you saw their rehearse. They did a fantastic job.
They did do a great job, and then they got loose, and they got There was that. They just, and you said it, just too much of the same thing. It was just spin, like over after over spin, and you can't do that. You need to mix it up.
You do.
You need to change it up so that the batsmen aren't used to just the same pace all the time.
Yeah. I'm a strong believer in a balanced side. You can go one way or the other, but a balanced side is the side that wins tournaments, as far as I'm concerned. That theory of bowling wins tournaments, could be true. But you start investing too heavily in that, then you're neglecting the other side of the game, and you're not there to compete. And that's where they're at. Again, I still think it's a 1-3 side. I still stand by that.
Yeah.
If they had the selection right from the beginning of the tournament.
Yeah.
And, these bits and pieces players that just... Yeah. So they invested in jerseys. Wadia. Now, he was a replacement player for Kerry, knowing that Kerry was going to come back. So they've invested game time into this bloke.
Yeah.
And now he can't play because Kerry's back.
Like,
surely you set your team up knowing, okay, we've got Kerry coming back at this stage. Let's get, I'm going to say it again, Thomas Kelly in. Give him games.
Yeah.
Get bloody Mackenzie Harvey in at the start of the tournament.
Yeah.
Get games into him. Get their confidence up. They've killed Sanger's confidence, killed Harvey's confidence.
Yeah. And now Everton's in a slump as well.
Yeah. Because you haven't...
So...
The plans around him have been bizarre. Didn't bowl him in Perth, the fastest wicket in the country.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's having to face too many bowls batting, so he's lost his effectiveness.
It's been so weird with the... Yeah, you're right. The way they're used to the players this year is just... I don't know who's putting this game plan together, but it's... Go away. Yeah. Just go back to whether it's pain, go back to Tassie, mate.
Yeah.
So, I'm with you. I'm dumbfounded at what they're doing and how they're playing. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It's embarrassing at sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's why I thought I'd wear this time, put a little bit of pride into it, and I think I'm doing okay so far.
Yeah.
So, let's draw a line through that. Striker season's done. We're not going to talk about anything else in regards to Strikers now, because the man of the moment is here, and he was smart enough to not put his brand through that Strikers kit this season. He has gone, I've seen you blokes, mate. You're shit. I'm not front enough.
Well, he might have been handy last night, though. So
look, he could have been, but let's say he does play well. Do they still chase down that 230?
Look, I don't know, but
because let's face it, Kerry would have been the one to have to drop down the innings. And does he play as an effective innings later in innings?
Well, you just don't know, but he could have been that steadier too, Kerry, lower in the innings. That could have just paced that innings a bit better and maybe got him. I don't know. No, it's ifs and buts, isn't it? If Lynn doesn't get the tickle, who knows? If Travis is playing, who knows? No,
But I will say, if he brought his Australian form into that Strikers kit and he puts up, 46.99% of the runs, then they get over the line. Phenomenal series for Travis Head, 608 runs of the 1,294 total runs.
Well, that's interesting because he got 629.
Oh, sorry, I made a mistake.
No, it actually says 608. For the tournament, he got 629.
So that graphic must have been taken after the first innings, I reckon.
So it'd probably get him into the 47s, I reckon.
I mean, because they didn't score. Well, it was only 150 in that inning, so it might still be around about the same average, actually.
Yeah. But that's when I saw that, I thought, wow. Yep. And then I saw this one. So Travis Head wins a man of a match every 5.9 matches. Now the next best is Mirrelly, who gets a man of the match every 7. followed by Jack Scalise, who's 7.2. And then we have Warney, who's at 8.5, and Steve Smith, who's at 9.5. Sachin Tendulkar is at 14.3 games to win a man of the match. It's guys like, even the greats, like Viv Richards was only winning one every 12.1 tests. And, you know, even our mate Coley is 12.3. So to win one almost like under every 6 tests, basically.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. I just look at that. And then, you pair that with the fact that he made almost 50% of the runs, or 47.
The bloke is an absolute match winner. I'll tell you something. He's old mate Zampa. Get back to Zampa.
Yeah.
You owe him for an outdoor setting. So if you're watching, Travis, make sure you get that. But there was actually, if you saw those tweets, and I'm trying to find it now so I can dig it up word for word, but I can't seem to find it. But he was saying the dude took when they were renting a property, took the bedroom door off and left him next to his bed to sleep. He's a weird cat, Travis said. Yeah, and he would go 25 meters down the road and jump in his car to go through the drive-through and see when he could just walk through the front door. He's something else, isn't he?
Well, you know, that's why you love him, because he's the larrikin, and we love our shirt. Yeah, well, you know, and we love our larrikins, you know, and the conversation about him morphing into Booney's become quite funny as well. Yeah. Is he? Because he's almost starting to look like that. You know? He seems to be more and more hunched over and thicker through the waist and tummy area. So, you know.
And he doesn't win too many running races.
No, he doesn't. And, you know, some of the stuff when he was sitting down with the reporters and they were asking him why he's walking signals, and he said, it's to get the dressing room all wrapped up. So the guy spins a yarn as well, I reckon. So,
yeah. And that's the thing. He doesn't give a shit what people think of him. It's about, let's give these mates a bit of a rib.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, reporters going, oh, you know, you haven't made a double century. You've got out in the 170s, 160s, 150s. And his answer's perfect. I'd rather be making that than 0 to 10.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I mean, anybody who asks a test cricketer or any cricketer, they're happy with a 170 and not a 200.
So I'm not knocking him here, but remember the early days when, and it was front page of news on the advertiser, what do you call it? Redbacks partying after a Shield victory.
Yep.
One of their rare Shield victories.
Yep.
And it was put to them that this is why they don't win many games.
Well,
he's the culture king, man. He was the captain at the time.
Yeah, he was.
And that's what's missing down at the Strikers, I think, at the moment, is a little bit of, come on, boys, this isn't as bad as what it seems.
Well, the first name that popped into my head when you said the Strikers, even if they just get some young, whoever it might be, a young player, and just say, look, you're the captain now.
Yeah.
Lead this side. Well, the first thing that popped into my head is virtually that's what they did with Trav.
Yeah.
They just said, here you go. Nothing else is working. You're a born leader. The guys will follow you. Why don't you just see where it takes you? And everybody went, what are you doing? This guy's way too young and he's undisciplined. But we have what we have today. And sometimes you just got to let the creativity of a player just come out. You can't be, you know, like Langer tried to stall that and try to get the technique into him. And he was never going to be a technique player. Never.
But what's funny is, so we talk about on green seaming pitches about the ball moving around. It's technique. Here's a bloke that scores 3 figures every time on a moving deck without technique.
Yeah.
So
because he's so unpredictable. That's the thing. So you know, either that or he's a mad genius, one or the other. I'm not sure what it is.
I think
because he's had so many pots.
Yeah.
He's probably still a bit wonky when he gets to the crease, and he's
But I mean, he downplayed, and it doesn't get talked about enough.
You're right.
It's what he brings to the team off the field.
His best innings have been when everybody else above and below him has failed.
But also the culture side of things. I think everybody feels more comfortable when he's around.
Yeah.
And you could say, okay, well, that's his batting, you know, carefree, takes the pressure off the other blokes. No, I think it's just, come on, it's not as bad as it seems, or it's, you know, we're going to have a few beers tonight. Or, again, taking the mickey somehow.
Yeah.
That eases the pressure on everyone.
When he played that shot in the second innings of the 5th test.
Did you hear his sledge afterwards?
I almost put my shoe through the TV. I tell you. and he's still got that poor choice in him.
Yeah.
Like, he could have put that through the offside. There was that huge gap that he could just place that into it, but instead he tries to muscle it for 6. Like, and that's where you just go, put your hands in there. But then you think, oh, well, he scored whatever it was, a 170 in the first innings, and he gets him off to a good start. Weatherall was doing all right. So sometimes you just have to forgive it. But I think there was another, and I said this to you in Adelaide, I think he missed out. Or was it whichever one it was, that he missed out on a double. Yeah. But sometimes you just have to shrug and go, oh, well, take what you can get.
You absolutely do. But he sledged the year when he come out and he's
he wanted which one was worse?
Yeah. Which one was worse?
We'll go and see Jamie Smith. Was it Jamie Smith?
Yeah, Jamie Smith.
And compare whose shot was worse.
And I don't think anyone can top Jamie Smith's overhead smash. It's a long off against Farners.
That was fantastic. We all celebrated then.
Yeah. So we've said everything about Travis Head, and we've produced figures like 46.9% of the runs. How did he not get man of the series?
Well, I listened to a lot of SEN, and they were talking to a lot of like Flam and all the other cricketers, Whitney and some of the other guys, and they were saying, who should pick? And every single one of them said Starkey. Yeah. Said Starkey. All of them. One of them, sort of went arm and R, and I think Flem said, well, can't we do can't 2 people win it? I can't split them. And then in the end, he said Starkey, because he was saying he there was no Cummings, there was no Hazelwood. He basically, through the first 2 tests, he covered. He carried that situational. Yeah, I understand that, but let's face it, he got back-to-back man of the matches in the first test because he was just absolutely phenomenal.
That innings that Travis Head played in that second innings, that's understated because they don't win. If he
totally agree. No, I totally agree with you. So I think that all gets forgotten.
Yeah.
And what also gets forgotten is that there were 2 2-dayers and a 3-dayer, which meant the bowlers dominated in 3 of the 5 tests. So for Starkey to come out and get those sort of numbers, which was what, in the end, 31, I think?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's, and even his batting was great.
Yeah, his batting
he hung around, he took the tail, he took him with him. So, you can't fold it after 2 tests. I just thought once we hit Adelaide, he didn't really contribute much, but, he still tore it away. But we look at the numbers, and he averaged about 13 overs each for a test. So for an inning, sorry.
Yeah.
So 26 overs a test, basically. So, 130 odd.
Yeah, and it takes
for a series.
Eventually you're going to be planted.
There was, you look at it. We said this before it even started, that we thought that both Archer and Wood would break down, and they did. So, I know. And I would have loved to have seen Trav get it, but in the end, Starkey getting it didn't really shock me, because I think we've still got that East Coast bias. And all these guys they were talking to were Victorians or New South Welshmen or Queenslanders anyway, and they were all picking Starkey. So at the end of the day, and you know what? If you said something that Trav would go, well deserved.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. He'd tell you well deserved. So,
Yeah, I don't know. In a series that runs were at a premium.
Yeah.
How you scored your runs.
Yeah.
Winning matches with bat. I mean, without him, they don't win the series.
No, that's right.
Alternatively, without Stark, could have Australia won the series.
Don't know. They definitely would have taken them longer to probably get, and England would have made more runs. So it's,
Whereas I feel without Head, Australia won the series.
No.
Simple as that.
No, you're right. So, yeah.
And I'm, you know what? Travis Head's biggest critic.
Yeah, you are, Travis. You don't.
As soon as you don that teal, black, silver, and white,
you're not a big fan of Trav. Equally as important in the first 2 tests, I thought. Probably, Trav more in the first than in the second, but still, it takes the pressure off Marnus, because you open. Helps Weatherall out. Whether he did or didn't, that's debatable. But definitely Weatherall looked more comfortable with Trevor then. So, it's more than just the fact he made 3 centuries. 3 good centuries, by the way. Not just making centuries, but
it's at the click he does.
That's right. Doing it quickly and making big centuries. So look, well deserved, but I find it hard to fault Starkey started start of the Ashes series. So,
Yeah.
maybe that sets it up. Maybe everybody thinks, well, he wins the first 2 tests for us. That gets us the good base, and we end up,
Yeah. I think
winning it all.
they should both head out west, take it to the street, and have a throwdown. What do you reckon? I think you know where I'm going. I think you know where I'm going with this one.
You reckon start?
Yeah.
As I said,
Yeah. Out in the west, the Wild West. What the hell is going on out
I
west?
don't know. Look, it's a young kid. What's his name? I can't even think of his name.
Tyler Brockman?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Tyler Brockman.
So we're talking about West Coast.
West Coast. Your favourite subject.
Well, so you got to
AFL,
talk about it because
we're talking about
I'm biased against or perceive. I don't want anyone to perceive it.
It just came out that apparently he gets filmed in a brawl. Police are investigating. Is it really what they need at this time of the year? This is blokes being blokes. Let's be honest here. You saw what happened with the guys with the pommies in Noosa. Some guys, what was bloody Dunkett, the garden gnome walking back to the hotel. Some guy gives him a sledge, and all of a sudden she's words, and So, look, you got to be able to live your life, but you also you don't need to draw attention to yourself. And
No,
this is a young bloke.
It's funny. All these young clubs, when they're at those young years, there's always one incident.
That's right. There is.
This happens. So
Absolutely.
look, and again, I'll be kind to West Coast here, and I'll say that this is maybe their line in the sand moment to draw a line with culture. I don't know if culture's a real big priority at West Coast at this stage, just because they're building.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Whereas I look at the Crows, they had to rebuild culture, and it was all culture first.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that meant at the expense of on-field performance.
Yeah.
Whereas with West Coast, I don't hear them talking about culture.
Well, look, the culture,
It all seems to be about let's get success super fast.
that's right. And the culture at West Coast, depending on who you listen to and what you believe, going back to their formation has never been great. It's never been great. With everybody, everything that's happened, and we could list the people who've passed away from that club because of whatever reasons. We can list the troubles that Kerr and Cousins have had. We can list that Juddy left, and we know he may not have come out publicly and said why he left, but everybody knew why he left because the culture was really poor. So look, that's never been a priority. Success for West Coast has always been a priority, I think. Yeah. And the fans don't care.
No.
Because
Because
they don't care. That's it. They still roll up, and good on them. That's what you want. You want a club. If you're a club, if you have a club, you want fans who will show up no matter what's going on, how well you're playing or how poorly you're playing. And they show up. They're great fans.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, these incidents are going to happen when you have young blokes, but it's never good. It's never great. And you hope it's not your club. So,
is it something about the West though? So, we've got like in near pure South Australia.
well,
Heads over to the West, and look what's happened to him.
yeah, look, he's in Brisbane at the moment. But anyway,
He was corrupted at Fremantle.
I was going to say we don't see this happen a lot at Fremantle. So, I don't think it's a West thing, but you're right about Lockie Neal. Like, I don't even know if you even want to. We talk about it because it's the flavour of the month, and it's coming to that point, and they're talking about him because his ex has decided she's from the West, so she's decided she's going to head home and she's going to take the kids. So now there's all the speculation around, will he leave Brisbane to head back to Fremantle? Because obviously a South Australian club isn't in any way, shape or form are going to be in the hunt now, because if his kids are in WA, then that's where he's either going to have to retire or he's going to have to head back to one of those clubs. The best place he could end up was West Coast, surely.
So, was it not last trade period, the trade period before? Remember they were floating with the idea of retiring home? I wonder if these things were sort of brewing underneath the surface back then. I mean, we're all guessing, and look, they genuinely could be. She could genuinely be homesick, but it is their support.
That's it. But the clubs generally these days know about the homesickness and things like that, so they do everything. Give you a lot of support. They throw your arms around you. They give you people who are in good positions to help you out. So, but that still doesn't fix the homesickness, obviously, because you do like, especially if you're close with your family or you've got really close friends.
Yeah.
There's that different lifestyle too. So, I can imagine that the Perth lifestyle to the Brisbane lifestyle would be totally different.
Massive.
So,
Massive.
yeah, absolutely, totally different. So, there's always factors, but also the fact of what he did would have, I'm not sure had that not happened, she'd be staying in Brisbane until he's retired, and then they'd be heading back to the West. So,
he's going to have a giant microscope underneath him. Above him. He's going to have to perform.
Yeah.
The moment he's fallen dips, one bad week,
the
media's going to realize
it's going to be because of this. Yeah.
So look,
he didn't have the greatest year last year, did he? Because of injury and stuff like that. So, and
look, taking the captaincy away was probably a good move, but it doesn't absolve him. It will not absolve him.
No, of course it doesn't.
It'll still be a target.
It's not the first bloke who's done this.
No.
There was a bloke at North Melbourne who was the captain, and
are you suggesting that Lachie Neale's going to get a trade to the Crows? Because we'll take it.
No, what I'm suggesting is he's not the first bloke to
no, absolutely not.
Put in this. We haven't had coaches in the league who've done this, so
Yeah.
I don't want to say it happens, but where to from here? And I guess the speculation about if the kids go to West, he'd probably end up going West as well.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm sure he would love a mid-season draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a trade period. Sorry.
Trade period.
Mid-season trade period.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if she's gone, which is, if I'm led to believe from what I'm reading, she's out the door already. The kids are gone. It's going to be a very lonely existence for him in Brisbane at the moment.
It is.
So,
but this time of year is horrible, isn't it? And you hear stories like the two young blokes that did ACLs today or this week.
Yeah, this week. Archer and Motlop. So Archer from North Melbourne and Motlop from Carlton.
First of all, I mean, hard for them. Absolutely hard. They've gone through the bulk of their preseason. Right now, they'd be sort of looking to get match play in.
Yep.
Starting to get ready for the
community
shit. So they've done all that hard work before Christmas, and they've had their dream of a solid 2026 ripped away. And it's tough for supporters.
Yeah, it is. Especially someone like Archer, because he's been injury prone and he's a son of a gun, obviously.
And he showed the potential.
Yeah, and you're spot on. Yeah.
And Motlop would have been looking to take that next step. He's had games at Carlton. Yeah. Hasn't set the world alight, but again, another preseason over his belt, he's going to have been ready.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, and for it's part of the game, isn't it?
It is.
But let's just hope that neither of them take 20 months to get back, eh?
That could have been the reason why we were pulled off air last week. we won't say why, for those oblivious. But you just hope that you don't hear any more until... And there's another ACL will be inevitable, I think.
No, of course. And again, it's part of the game. Yeah. We know that.
You'd much rather see it in game before the season starts this close.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we touched on this last episode last week when we spoke about Sam Pepper and the fact that he's gotten back in under 12 months. So, with the right rehab, who knows? They might, one of these guys might actually be ready to go. But I doubt it. I'm just speculating here, but, with the advancements in medical science and things like that and rehabs.
And really, let's face it, the AFL are at the cutting edge of getting players back as quickly as possible. Yeah. And the way people have returned from their knees, it's not like what it used to be.
That's
where,
right. Yeah.
They'd come back and it would be, a couple of years before they get into the group, if at all.
Yeah.
Now players are coming back and they're just as good. Bailey Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
It's not a kiss of death anymore, which is next on the agenda, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
kiss of death.
The Philadelphia Eagles went down today.
And, the unbeatable Philadelphia Eagles.
The unbeatable Philadelphia, as Liam said, they might as well hand him a trophy in about round 5 or 6 of the NFL season. And since then, they've struggled, and the defending champion is now out of the playoffs.
Yeah. So first of all, apologies to the city of Philadelphia. Don't come for me. I'm changing my address, so don't bother coming looking. Passionate supporter base.
Yeah.
Some of the best fans of the world are in Philadelphia. Shout out KB.
Fun.
Yeah, look, hard. It's hard to go back to back in any
Oh,
sport.
yeah, it is.
It's extremely hard.
Yeah.
And they took a real mature approach of Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, spoke very, very maturely of, when he was asked about are they going to go back to back, they had to earn that right. So all the right noise was coming out, but it does take a lot to go right to win a championship of any kind. And it's a pretty open season this season. And it feels, look, the Chiefs' inevitable burial happened.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's a bit of a changing of eras.
Yeah, and look, these things happen sometimes. I don't know if you watched any of the games, but the Green Bay Packers had the Bears absolutely on 17 points. They were up by and blew it. So, that's traditional rivals too. The two fan bases, absolutely. Two clubs and two fan bases hate each other. So that wasn't a shock when I saw the scores. What was a shock was that the Bears were able to come back from that deficit and actually win that game. So they become a really, really interesting team moving forward because they've become a little bit unpredictable.
Yeah.
They've now got a scrambling quarterback, and that's when you become hard to read. Yeah, hard to read and hard to plan for, exactly.
But as we were saying before we come on air, it also is their greatest Achilles heel because you're with that unpredictability, it can all fall to pieces really quickly. You just hope that it doesn't happen during your playoff run. But like every sport again, I'll bring it back, title in. Once you get the momentum, sometimes it can catch on. And that was what I was hoping for with the Crows this year. It never kicked on because I don't think a lot of people love us. But the Bears, they've got a story that I think everyone wants to see them have some success because they're
in the 80s, they probably had one of the best teams.
Yeah, but
best defense.
Since the 80s, what have they done?
Nothing. They've made one Super Bowl since then. So you're right. They've been poor for a lot of years. They're not the only club to have dropped and not regained their footing for a long time, but they're a very passionate supporter group. They love their gridiron footy, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's good to see them up there. But again, they're the type of team that can break your heart very quickly. Like you just wouldn't have expected to be down to a Green Bay Packers the way they were. But again, it's a traditional. It's like the power of the Crows.
Yeah.
You go into those games and one team can be better than the other, but it all depends on who plays better on the day.
Any given Sunday.
That's it. So you're spot on. It's every given Sunday. So now it becomes very interesting moving forward because I don't know how I rate Seattle. And they're going to have a team that's been to a couple of Super Bowls in San Francisco, who's coming at them now.
Yeah.
Whereas I do have some faith in the Broncos, who were the other team that had the week off.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be an interesting watch from here out.
If San Francisco fails again, where do they go to?
Well, yeah. I think they've got the tools.
Yeah,
they got the tool. They definitely got the players in place. They just probably need to improve a little bit on their offensive line and their defense is decent enough. They have got. Again, it's any given Sunday. Like you say, any given Sunday. So they look really good early to mid-season, and then they drop off. And it's the dog days of winter too. You got to remember they're not a cold weather team. So once they start traveling to some of these cold weather regions, like San Francisco, sunny all year round. So it's really hard to play in the snow for a team like that because at home they never see snow. So they're always an interesting team who I always thought that they overcome the adversity. A bit like the West Coast and Fremantle having to travel every second week.
Yeah.
They put all those miles and all those into their, traveling. And we see West Coast probably one of the most successful clubs since their inception, to be honest with you.
But you know what I find a bit funny about that? Is you don't hear the whinging.
No, you don't.
America, do you?
No.
It's just, that's what it is. You just deal with it.
Exactly.
Whereas here, we seem to whinge.
Well, We whinge because we see the inequity, and I know the Victorian. Anybody who watches us from Victoria won't see this at all, and they'll just say it's interstate bias or interstate whinging. But we see the bias in that. We see teams like the Richmonds and the Collingwoods, the Essendons, the Carltons, all these Geelongs getting 14, 15 games in Victoria while everybody else is travelling. And then whinging about having to do a gather round, having to come to South Australia for a gather round, So, again, I go back to what I've always said to you. I think every single Victorian side should have to play home and away against every interstate team. They should have to, not home and away. They should have to come to Adelaide twice. They should have to go to West Coast twice. They should have to go to Sydney twice. They should have to go to Brisbane twice. Now, that's travelling 8 times a year.
Yeah.
And then if you chuck in gather round, that's 9. Except for probably Hawthorn and North Melbourne who go to Tassie. But once that Tassie deal's done and Tasmania's in, then,
that sounds like a nightmare to draw. That's what
it wouldn't really be a nightmare to draw, because if you were smart, you'd do it back to back. You'd have them come to Adelaide, and you could have them play the gather round. Then you could have them play Port, and then you could have them play the Crows, and then you could have.
Does that not just
later
defeat the purpose of travelling? Because that doesn't even up as far as I'm concerned.
But you're still out of your comfort zone, though.
Yeah, I get that.
What I mean?
Yeah, it still doesn't make up for the inequity of travelling. That's what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but that still puts them outside of them sleeping in their own beds, training on their own grounds, seeing their family, seeing their loved ones, seeing their kids, seeing the wife, seeing the girlfriend. But there's still all that stuff that's not happening.
I know, but that's grand final day. Imagine that, like the biggest showcase, and
and you're never going to change that.
You can still wake up in your own bed and your final morning.
They're never going to change that, as they've signed what I think we're now up to 2075 that the contract signed to. So, you're never going to change that, right? So, anyway, we sort of got off the subject of the NFL here, but I totally agree with you about the Yanks not whinging about having to travel, because and again, they do that. They leave home, they go to college. So they do it at a very young age. Most of these guys head off at 18.
Yeah.
Head into college campuses halfway around the country, some of them. Some of them stay in state, others move on. Some of them can find jobs that live in those states that they went to college in for the rest of their lives.
The only sport that I suppose you could say soccer a little bit, but basketball here. I mean, how many times do you see, interstate players come play? Guinea, for example.
Yeah.
Victorian that started his career with the Adelaide 36ers. There's no qualms. Of course, he's got grander ambitions to go overseas and play, but there's no complaint.
No, that's right.
You just get on with it.
Because that's your job. That's it. It's spot on. So then you're happy just to get the opportunity sometimes.
So it's not so much an Australian problem. It's an AFL problem.
It is. And that's because, look, you look at any other competition and the AFL, when you've got 10 teams in one state, like you said, you just said to me, that must be a nightmare to schedule, but you could easily do that. Apparently they put it into a computer anyway, and it just spits out the draw.
Yeah.
So you just put that into the computer and see what you get. And you can still have all your blockbusters. You can still have the Anzac Days. You can still have your Queen's birthday. You can still have whatever else they have, Dreamtime. You can still, all those things can still happen. There's no way, and they don't have to worry about missing out. But they will say they do it this way to maximize the dollar, because they know a full MCG brings in far more than a full Adelaide Oval. Far. And they would rather have a full MCG than they would have a full Adelaide Oval.
It is. Yeah, I get that. So sometimes you see some of those blockbuster games and they only scrape over 50,000 and you think, wow, okay, interesting.
Yeah. But are they really blockbuster games,
No, generally not.
Exactly. So that's the other thing too. You can ramp up a game as much as you want. You can give it as much,
All right.
Look at the Boxing Day test, mate. That gets all the hype in the world the last 2 days, and it's called the worst pitch in Australia. So
they still claim it's the best test match. Oh, fuck. No, excuse my language. Give me a break.
Yeah.
So I gave a kiss of death to the Eagles, so I'm not going to predict where
Okay.
the playoffs are going to head.
Yeah.
Give us your early Super Bowl tip of who's playing and who wins.
Well, from the AFC, I can see. I reckon I'm leaning towards Broncos, San Francisco. I think I'd like to see Broncos Bears because I've got two really close mates who I've known since I was 10. So over 55 years, and one supports the Broncos and the other supports the Bears. So I'd love to see them go. I'll always go to the Bears supporters' house every year. We've done it for 33 years straight. We go to Rob's house for Super Bowl Monday.
Yeah, so you definitely root for the Bears.
I want to see the Bears Broncos, but I just don't know if the Bears can do it. I'd love to see them do it. I just don't. So I think the San Francisco are more seasoned, and they've just got that little bit of experience behind them.
Yeah,
Seattle could surprise me. I just don't have any faith in them, that's all. But they could surprise me and actually make it through. My tip would have been Philly had they not actually gone out. So, yeah. Because I figured they were just building. They were doing that nice, slow build.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but they're gone now. So, yeah.
Yeah, they had a weird season.
Yeah. But, of course, if I had to pick one team, I would have picked my Steelers not to get through Houston tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, anyway. So, we're just... To everybody in the Eastern Seaboard who is struggling with the fires at the moment, Liam and I would just like to say that all our thoughts and prayers will be with you and your families, especially those in Victoria who are our closest state neighbours. So we just want to say take care, be safe, and we're praying that there's a shift in the weather and you can get these fires under control.
Yeah. Despite everything that we've said over the journey here.
Yeah.
We're Australian.
That's it. We're all Aussies, and we all
there's no hate here. It's just
it's a bit of banter.
Yeah,
bit of banter, a bit of fun.
At the same time,
we all know. We all say virtually the same thing about each other from each state.
And that's another thing. Just look, what we say. It's we're having fun. Yeah. So ease up. If you're not happy, write us a comment. Don't go reporting us.
Yeah.
It's creating us a few headaches, and it's just unwarranted.
Yeah. And Boomer is a chucker, so there's no point reporting us for saying that.
And fuckers are mine. Fucker.
So
let's get that word in there.
Yeah, let's get out of here with the joke of the week, eh? So sadly, the inventor of the throat lozenge just passed away. There'll be no coffin at his funeral. Good night.